Okay, everybody, can you guys hear her in the store?
Yes.
Okay. We have, what, 16 people here, and then we got
Oh
people.
my gosh.
We are so happy that
Hi,
we can
everybody.
be with us. So thank you for your patience with us getting you on. Are you still okay for 30 minutes or okay?
Absolutely.
Been past 6:30? Okay.
We're
All
good.
right. Well, first off, thanks for being here. We have questions we want to go right into, and then what we're going to do at the end, we're so excited. We have a bunch of tarot decks, and we're going to go through and do some fun, like some of the exercises and the spreads that you have in the, yes.
I got my deck too. I'm like, are we going to do some tarot tonight? Can we
Oh,
please?
that's fantastic. And does anyone have any questions they didn't pass me yet?
Not yet. I'm sure I'll have questions
Okay.
as we go on.
Okay, fantastic. Well, all right, my first question here. Anyone in the chat have any questions I didn't see? I don't see anything.
I don't see anything yet.
Okay, great. If anybody puts something in the chat, Stephanie, you can check it out and we can go right there. So everyone's a little shy right now. They're excited you're here. All
I'm
right.
a little shy too. It's like, hello, a bunch of strangers. Let's all become best friends.
I'm ready for it.
I love that.
We're gonna party. We got our tea, we got our tarot decks, and we got Stephanie Caponi here. So, oh, great. All right, so let's first ask the question about manifestation voice. So you talk about finding your manifestation voice. Can you share a little bit more about that for those who haven't finished the book yet, and how we can find our unique voice without copying others their own manifestation techniques?
I feel like we all love manifestation. We're all here because we want to make stuff happen. But what works for me and what works for Kara is not going to work for Samantha and Sharon and Jen's. Like it's going to be, everybody's going to have their own special way of doing things. And that can come from so many different places. You can look at your astrology for that. You can look at your human design. You can look at the past and look back at things that have come into your life that seemed like absolutely magical occurrences and think about, oh, what was I doing then? Or what wasn't I doing? And find kind of your unique flavor. But I really think it all boils down to writing your love letters with your voice and your emotions.
How did you find your unique voice? Is there any journey that you want to share that maybe didn't? I have a couple more questions that are related to this, but I want to know what didn't get in the book that the editors put out that you're like, I wish this would have stayed in, because that sometimes happens.
Honestly, they didn't. I have to say, I'm really, Hay House is so awesome. They're like, tell your story, don't edit, add more. It was more like they were like, go deeper. Because I'm kind of a shy person. This was my first book that I wrote really personal stuff. I'm used to writing how-tos where, you get to write 2 pages of your own story. And then they're like, okay, now go into the actual information. And this was the first time they were like, no, like be raw, tell the stuff. I feel like I could have probably, I mean, there's a million more stories to add, stories of my clients, just people's stuff. But it was really a lot of failing and doing things really wrong and being really frustrated. When you finally do like find your voice and things click and it feels like it happens fast, it's usually on the other side of, for me, years of beating, my head against the wall trying to get really specific things that I wanted.
Great.
I hope that answers that.
Yeah. Does anyone have any follow-up questions regarding that?
No, I think that makes sense though.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I'm not a magical person. I'm, just like everybody else. There's so much trial and error into finding your manifestation voice. And I think if that would have been in other books that I read, instead of just like, oh, follow these steps and poof, you'll get what you want, instead of being really realistic about it and being like, no, you're going to have to play around a little bit or a lot to find what really works for you.
Einstein, wouldn't you say? Not Einstein, excuse me, Edison. Somebody asked Thomas Edison, how did it feel to, fail over 100 times before you invented the light bulb. And he chuckled and he said, I didn't fail. I learned over 100 ways not to make a light bulb.
Exactly.
Which
That
is a
is,
fabulous, way to think, especially for manifestation.
yes.
We talk a lot about finding your voice and finding our unique, authentic voice in this group. I know we were talking about that last time. And so, do you have anything along your journey that related to, you said, putting this work, a lot of your personal stuff, into this book? Is there anything that you could say related to the tarot and for manifestation that the cards helped you and guided you in facing some of the shadow or some of the things that were challenging for you in expressing your unique voice in the book?
So the things that we want and finding authenticity, your unique voice, the special sauce that makes you you, it's the holy grail of what you can discover, but it's also the most terrifying, vulnerable thing because you risk everybody judging you, being not liked. I think that was one of the scariest things, and one of the things I really putting this book out specifically, every fear that I could have possibly had about visibility and being judged and just annihilated in comments and bad reviews and just people being like, who does she think she is? All of that came up. And that's where, you get your tarot deck and you're like, okay, I know, like this moment feels terrible. This feels really scary. I want to just scrap it all and say, nope, just kidding. I don't want to do it. So what I always kind of ask my tarot deck to help me take myself out of the situation, to depersonalize it, so I can see what these things are really teaching me. What lessons am I here to learn? Because that's going to be part of what I'm able to share later, down the line.
Thank you. Does anyone have any follow-up questions on that? We have many of the tarot students here that have graduated through their tarot training, and so I want to open you guys up for questions. I love you guys are smiling, but I feel like one of the questions that I would have would be, when you learned tarot and then you started transitioning into using it for manifestation and looking at your shadow, when did that pop into like an aha moment for you? It's like, oh, why am I not? It just was naturally, and then you didn't really realize you were doing it that way. Because I know the original book was called Love Letters to the Universe, and they wanted to call it Tarot for Manifestation. I'm curious if it was like before that you identified that that was what we were doing, or how that transpired for you when you first learned tarot to starting to use it in this way.
It really, I think it was like kind of around 2021 when things started going well. I wasn't in a state of crisis, and going to my tarot deck every single day to help me work through really complicated feelings and helping myself get out of victimhood. And things started going my way, and some big, incredible things started happening. And I was terrified that it was all going to go away. And so I kind of used tarot to help me normalize, like, okay, no, you've been doing manifestation practice, you've been using tarot for healing and shadow work. Now you're using tarot to help you normalize when things are going well. And that's when a lot of the tarot spreads for each manifestation step kind of came into my life, because I was like, oh, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. And I didn't think that I'd never seen a tarot book specifically for manifestation, and I didn't think that was something sellable. I'm like, who wants that? Everybody's buying books that are just teaching them how to read tarot, or they're, using tarot for healing and for shadow work and for these like really deep things. And it was like, well, what if it's for something a little more fun? What if you can bring that depth to when really good things start to happen in your life?
one of the common things that we hear when people come into this bookstore and learn about tarot is they have an association with it being for prediction or for what's going to happen, or like, oh, tell me this whole thing. So I know with the tarot students, we learned that that's not the thing, you know.
Well, at least that's the way I teach.
Yeah. But I was curious about when you started working in your profession, working as a reader, how did you differentiate that with people who are coming for that versus, hey, I'm using it this way? And where does there maybe cross over potentially?
Everybody kind of has their own journey to making the leap from recreational tarot reading into professional tarot reading. And when I first started, I was in Brooklyn at a cool store that I wish was still there. It was like an ethical fair trade fashion, jewelry, clothing, home goods from all over the world. But they also had a wellness space. And they had a cafe and a wine bar, and then you could go downstairs and do classes and get Reiki and like wash a facial. It was the coolest place. And I was so intimidated. And I went in there with my girlfriend to, she was like, you should carry my friend's tarot deck and you should hire her as a reader. And I was like, I'm not a professional tarot reader. Like, why are you saying this? And it was, of course, to the owner of the store. And she was like, come, I want you to do a reading for me. And like, let's see what's up. And so I did. I was so scared and intimidated because she was like the coolest person in Brooklyn to me. And we had the best time. And I ended up doing like 15-minute and 30-minute readings for people while they were shopping. They could sign up for a tarot reading and they could like grab a wine or a tea and like come sit and get a reading while they were like doing whatever. And that's really where I found the type of reader that I was. And I never really attracted the type of people that were like, tell me my future. It was more like, this is what I want. And we would be like, okay, what's standing in your way? Why do you think you don't have it? Well, let's see what tarot has to say. Boom, 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 boom. And it would just be, it was just kind of a natural progression. I see like a lot of people online complain about, the type of people that are coming in and they're like, I want to know about like my love life or when, and like asking those specific like timing questions. When am I going to get, married? When am I going to have this? And tarot doesn't tell you time. There are like a lot, I mean, there's a lot of people that would say like, oh, you can look at the number on the card and like correlate it to a season. And if that intuitively unlocks something in your psychic gifts that is like you feel deeply resonant, like go for that. But that wasn't for me. It was more of like time doesn't really exist. You can collapse it in an instant or you can make it drag on forever. It's in your stories of how long do you want to cling on to that thing?
Yeah, what I'm thinking about when you're saying this is there's so many people that come into the spiritual life style, whatever they're using, tarot or Reiki or astrology, and they're learning all these different forms of art. And there's such a spectrum of people and consciousness of how they're utilizing it, whether they're using it of like, life happens to me and I need to have the reader tell me what's going to happen, kind of like I feel like I don't have control of my life. And then we have the spectrum of like, I'm using this tool to help manifest and co-create with source or God or whatever people, higher power, goddess. And so I love that there's a whole spectrum of different ways to use and to explore these things. And I love that you have offered a way to use it in an empowering way. And instead of it, waiting for it to happen. So I'm curious as far as, for people who are, there's a wide range of people who are like, I'm doing cards all the time for myself, or I'm doing professionally, or people have never picked up a deck, or even only have Oracle decks, because we are going to play around today with some of the stuff. If anyone here, of course, at home too and in person, is like, whatever level they are, what would you suggest for maybe one or two of the spreads? Because I have a couple picked out, but one or the two of the spreads in your book to play around with for our evening. What do you think would be the good ones? I have two in mind, but I'm curious if you
Oh,
have any.
man.
Yeah, there's a lot
So
in there.
I feel like the thing that I hear the most from people is either they they've already been doing the manifestation work and they need the support around the waiting, because I feel like that's the hardest part, where we all get tripped up and we stop believing in ourselves and in the process when we don't see it right away. So that could be like the spread that's the in the cosmic waiting room chapter, I think is good for
The
that.
9 or
Or
10.
like, yeah, the
That was
or
one
like
of
surrendering with the hangman's a good one. I'm like, let me go to the book because I don't.
So we'll definitely encourage that one, because I think you're right. And that was one of my next questions about the cosmic waiting room. So for those who haven't gotten to that chapter yet,
Oh yeah, we don't have to go there if it's too soon.
no, that's fine. Because the one question I was thinking, that one's a good one. I was thinking for those of you who haven't either started reading it yet or you're not finished, the first one I found really helpful was if it's you're setting an intention or you want to have something you're co-creating, but you don't exactly know what your desire is. That one was really cool. So we can pull that chapter out if you're at home, you at home haven't read that chapter yet. It's very early on, but I really like that one if you're like, I don't know exactly what I want. What is my desire? Or you think you know your desire, but it's something else. So that I think was really powerful. And then I like what you're saying about the cosmic waiting room of like, what am I waiting for? What's in the way? Or why am I, is it really happening? And to give you a little bit of trust there. But for those who haven't gotten to the cosmic waiting room chapter yet, could you give us a little bit of a explanation for what that is? And you're saying a lot of the people you work with get stuck at that space in manifestation.
Yes. This is where co-creation asks you to back off. And I don't know if you guys are anything like myself, but I'm a bit of a control freak, especially when I like have it in my head that I want something and I finally believe it's possible. I'm like, I will move mountains and make this happen. And it always backfires. And I'm always like stressed out and asking my tarot deck, like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need right now? So I made this spread to kind of help me with my own anxiety. And then I use it on like my clients and students. So that's like, if you've already set your intention and, clarified what it is that you want and done though, you've written your love letter and now you're just like, okay, I'm ready. I put in my order. Where's my food? And you see everybody else getting it. And you're like, what about me? Did you forget about me?
So I'll give a personal example. Your book, so I don't know if some of you have said the same thing, but when we pick up a book and then you're reading the book and you're like, this author is saying everything I need to hear right now. You're doing this too right now with this book. It's amazing. So I have something I want to create in my own business, and there's been a lot of move it forward. And then all of a sudden it felt like the last couple of weeks, a lot of stopping and just these things. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And on Monday, I was like really irritated about it. And then Wednesday night, I was driving, listening to your audiobook. And I was driving, we were talking about this chapter, the cosmic waiting room. And I was going to one of the outings for our Conscious Connections Club. We go to this really cool energy spa. And it usually takes me 45 minutes to get there. And I was running late. And I was like, why am I not getting there? It was 15 minutes after the time I'm supposed to be there. And the GPS took me somewhere else. And I called the place and said them, like, I just don't know why it's taking me this long. And they're like, oh, and as you were saying, that sometimes life is detouring us. Then I'm picking up the phone. She said, well, actually, the bridge is out and there's going to be a detour for a year with coming to the place. And it's okay. Everyone else is experiencing this too. And I was like, wow. And then all of a sudden, I hang up the phone, the audiobook comes back on. And then you're like, and then the hanged man, our tarot card, you just got to let go. And I was like, I think I get it loud and clear. Because like all these other things, it was just a message directly. So I love that I love this option for using that for when you're feeling like it's not happening. But I wanted to ask any of the students or anyone here about what they think about that or questions they have about using it for where you think you're blocked and getting some insight.
Well, when we gather, when hi, Stephanie. When my students gather, we do this once a month. We will often have spreads that say what's blocking us, what's keeping us from getting where we want to go. I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. That seems to be a common thread we know what we want, or we think we know what we want. What is it that's stopping us from getting there? This sounds like it's fine tuning that just a little bit more, which is kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing this part of the book. So what about you
Thank
guys? What do
you.
you think?
I've, I don't know anything about tarot. I've never done it. I didn't read the book. But it sounded, the room sounded like the waiting and not getting part, putting expectations on
Ding,
the
ding,
stuff.
ding.
And that's the control part. You know, you want to control it, and by controlling it, putting expectations on everything or everybody. And when it doesn't happen, you know,
Well, that's
it's
Then
like
doubt
being the
comes in.
director of a play.
Then
type
doubt
A
comes-
control freak
yeah.
right here. Let's just,
That's how
yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
I took it, at least.
And also just side note, Damien, you don't have to know anything about tarot to read this book.
Okay.
The benefit, I'll send you that. You didn't get the podcast yet, so he just like came in yesterday. He's like, I gotta come to this, so you've got to come to it. So we
Thanks
have,
for coming.
Like
you're
it.
gonna love it. You're
Yeah.
gonna love it, and we're gonna play around with it today.
And I liked in the beginning when you were talking about separating yourself with the tarot. Like, yeah, taking yourself out of the equation and looking at it, as if it was somebody else and how you would react if it was somebody else. And
Yes.
so, yeah, very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like that's the essence of the hanged man, is taking yourself out of the equation.
Would you say that it would also be helpful, because something was percolating here when you were speaking, would it be helpful also to depersonalize yourself from the issue, but to personalize the issue in the cards, in the archetypes of the cards? If you catch what I'm trying to say, as you bring up a card, it becomes then the personification or the manifestation, not poor choice of words. It becomes the concrete example, the personification of the issue itself.
Yes, truly. And that's a really creative way of looking at that, to be able to see
Then
the
it
card
takes
that comes up
personality
and
out of it, out of the shame game out of it, and it
Yes.
becomes outside of yourself, but still with its own personality that you can try to figure out.
yes. And that's exactly a very well said way that I work with tarot, is by putting myself in each of the archetypes. I mean, I have the deck that I created has one character. I made it not as a big deck for everybody. I made it just as a healing project for myself, where I was the character on each card. So like I was looking, I have my hangman card, like that's me waiting, trying to not take things personally and feel into the energy and the medicine that the hangman has to offer, or any of the cards.
I love Samantha's the comment. Major control freak here. I get the hangman constantly. It's probably a most card pulled card. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I have a question about the love letters to the universe, because the book itself was like really a culmination of everything leading up to writing your love letter. And I know not everyone got to that point yet, but how, if you were to summarize in, the process and getting to that point, how is the tarot like absolutely necessary so you can really get that on like exactly what you're looking to create and manifest, that love letter?
If you think about the sun card, it's way at the end of the major arcana. And you're like, the sun, it's like, oh, everything's happy and what? No, that is the joy returning once you've gone through the dark night of the soul, once you've gone through all of everything that, you know, has led you that far, to know that the sun rises again. And I really think that if you're going to be a student of manifestation, you have to really go to the depths of your own shame and shadow and everything that's holding you separate from the life that you really want to have. Otherwise, it's just toxic positivity and, you know, love and light.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't. You know, it works to keep people feeling safe, but you're not going to actually get anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
So
think that going through all of that is like the prep work. Just like if you're, say you want to sign up for a marathon, you're not just going to say, okay, I'm signing up for a marathon. I've never run, or the last time I ran was in high school when I had to run the mile in gym class. No, you're going to start stretching, you're going to start conditioning, you're going to do practice, right? So this is like the same thing. It's like your spiritual exercises, so that it's more than just writing a letter. Like, these are the things that I want. It's like, then you really have your why behind why you want those things, and that you're not so controlled of it only has to be this particular thing in this very specific way, or I'm want no part of it. Like, you have to just really be like very flexible and loose, just like when you're exercising
I
or,
have
you
a
know, doing any
personal,
big thing.
oh, sorry.
Sorry. No.
I have a personal interest in moving manifestation beyond me and moving it into we, and moving into group manifestation. I have a
Yes.
huge interest in that. And it has to be aligned, attuned people that are willing to look at their shadow, they're willing to communicate, that are willing to lean in, that are willing to have hard conversations when you're trying to create a project. Or there's a lot of things that happen when you have group dynamics, and you have to do a lot of the shadow work within yourself to even have good relationships with yourself to be able to even get to that point of group manifestation.
Yeah.
So how would you, if there would be like a thing, how would you use your book to do something as a group, for like group project? Because I'm actually thinking me and my team are going to play around with this. We're very excited. I sent it to my virtual assistant and my office manager. We're like, we're going to do it. But I just curious if that's something you would have guidance, or if anyone else finds that interesting, like, hey, you want to do it with your group.
It's really interesting that you brought that up. I received a message from somebody who had read the book that they have a tarot group, like, and that's all over the world. They do it through Zoom, and they all meet, you know, once a week. And they did my book just on the, like, as their kind of book club, like you guys did, but they did it all. And when they would meet on Zoom, they would do the tarot pulls together. And she said, like, it was so like life changing, and like people were thinking about things so differently, and people that had been very curmudgeonly and negative or suddenly like, oh wow, there's a lot of things that are possible in life, and which was really cool to hear. But then she asked me the same question as you, so I went back to her and I said, well, just, you know, set your intention as a group, you know, go back to the beginning, have your intention, like whatever your vision is for the group, and get everybody on board, and then do this weekly together, continually checking in around this one specific thing to make sure everybody's still in alignment. So yeah, people are doing this, and I
I
think
love
it's
it.
amazing, because
I mean, age
my
requires
goodness,
man.
the social impact that we could have.
That's what I think. I don't think like, oh, let's create, no, like let's create something that's making a huge impact on the community, on people's mental health, on the food system, on obviously all the things that I feel passionate about, that I'm like, let's do something.
This is what we should do with Tarot Thursday.
We should. We're percolating over here, as I used your word from earlier.
Keep
Yeah.
me in the loop. We could make it a much wide, we could cast a wider net.
I love that.
I love that too. Because let me tell you, it was very hard to put this book out in 2025.
Mhm. But it was needed. It was needed because we're seeing manifestation in ways that we may not particularly like, that are just as powerful and we can counter with positivity and the tarot. So, I mean, this is the perfect time, Steph.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because the final thing I have to share, you talk about manifestation as a lifestyle, and I really believe that we're all manifesting, no matter if we believe it or not, and the collective is manifesting right now a lot out of fear, and that's why I think if we have the conscious awareness to do something together, I think that's super exciting. So if you were to pick a tarot card or a couple for either your life or the collective right now for this year, or you could do both, whatever. I want to hear it. And if you guys, any other questions? Like, guys in the chat, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay.
All right.
I don't tend to hold my peace.
Yeah.
We love that about you. I don't know your name. What's your name?
Pat.
Pat. It's so nice
Pat.
to meet you.
Nice to
Pat
meet
is
you.
our elder crone. She's been doing tarot for 55 or 55 years.
57 years.
57 years.
57 years.
Wow.
Yeah. You're from New York too.
I am.
Yeah.
From Long Island.
Yeah.
What part?
Nassau County. Hicksville.
Okay.
Billy Joel country.
I lived in Wading River when I had to hermit for a while after my divorce.
Oh, that was a question while everybody's thinking. You mentioned 2021 as a key year that you pulled some stuff together. Do you think the isolation that came about because of the coronavirus might have had something to do with you being able to crystallize a lot of these concepts?
I really think that I talk a lot about like decluttering and making space in your life for your manifestations. And what COVID did for me living in New York, where lockdown was imminent, and I was living in a teeny tiny apartment in a relationship with somebody that did not want to be in a relationship with me anymore.
Ouch.
Yeah. And neither of us could really like leave it because there was nowhere else to go. You couldn't get a moving company. So we kind of just had to stick it out, and everything, and my jobs went away. I didn't have any like W-2 employment at the time. I was nannying to pay my rent and doing workshops and doing readings and trying to build my business and sell my tarot deck. And I couldn't sell my deck anymore because I couldn't ship anything. You couldn't go. The line to get to the mail was around the block for hours. It was awful. So it was really like those GPS roadblocks and the universe really clearing my schedule. And that's when my publishing career started.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I think like when you're in your worst rock bottom moment, if you can find the perspective, and the way I did it was I thought for a split second, what if somebody sat down in front of me for a reading and told me this story? What would I say to them? And then I started laughing and I'd be like, oh my God, the universe cleared your schedule because something bigger wants to connect with you and it needs runway, like a lot of runway to land. And sure enough, it was like within weeks. Penguin Random House was calling me to write a book for them, and Candlewick Press was calling me to illustrate a tarot young adult fiction series for them. And they're like, do you have time? We're like on these crazy deadlines. And I'm like, I have nothing but time. And it was like, once I kind of started down that path, everything kind of started dropping. So it's just finding that like one way you can shift your own sense of like everything sucks into like, ooh, maybe there's something really awesome on the other side of this.
Yeah.
There's a lot more possibilities if you have a lot more openness in your schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An openness in your life for new things.
Yeah. So what's the final card to pull for if you would say, if you pick a card, if you could pick a card, but I'm saying if you pick a card either for, like, if you would pick one for the year, for the collective, or for yourself, like, what would it represent? What would it be?
Man, that's such a good question. I feel like the collective really feels like a Wheel of Fortune moment because, it's up, it's down, but it's always moving. So it's like so hard right now to see everything that's happening. It's so devastating. But we have to remember that like this is part of
Part of the cycle.
part of
Yeah.
the turn, and the pendulum will swing. And so what does that mean personally? It's like, okay, the way to navigate the wheel is to stay close to the center where you're not, it's not this like wild movement. It's like way, way slower, can be kind of boring and nothing's really happening, but it's like, okay, this is where we work on our nervous system. This is where we, ground our energy and take care of our immediate surroundings.
For the astrology people in here, Chiron moving into Taurus, it lines up.
Mhm.
Slow.
For those of us with a natal Chiron and Taurus, we're just like waiting for our Chiron returns.
Yes, indeed.
That's going to be exciting. Is it coming in this next season? 5 years of it, right? 5 years? Is it 5 years of Chiron?
Thereabouts.
About 5.
A little more.
I think Chiron is set as a 7-year transit.
Okay. I just calculated mine. Mine's a Gemini, so in 8 years, 10 years or something. So yeah. Thank you for being here. Any other final questions, guys? Because you guys are just so quiet. But we have the recording though. We have to be able to rewatch
Kath has a
everything.
question.
But yeah, go ahead, Cassandra.
I was just wondering if there was anything that was left out that's going into another tarot book, or if you feel you got to say everything you wanted to say in this one.
I mean, that's a great question. Thank you. The way publishing works, I wrote this book 2.5 years ago, and so much has changed. So like I would love to like add on to chapters. I would love to add new spreads to it. And what I don't know if there will be like a second book of it, but I think that it will turn into some sort of like group.
I could see a workbook. with
I see a workbook.
Yeah.
Like
It
a
would be
different
fabulous
same
to have a
color,
workbook.
same cover, different color. I just see it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yes. And I would love to make a deck that went with it. Like I got to illustrate it too. So I would love for those illustrations to be made into a deck, but we'll see.
Cool. Well, can you share with us things about you, what you're doing that's really exciting right now, that we can go and check you out all the places so that we can continue? And FYI, everybody here, I'll make this announcement again. Our owner of this bookstore just like wiped out of everything. You can see the shelves, there's like a lot of holes. He just put in the big order for the, more things. So we have like other options for not just this book that will be coming back in, but you have the guided tarot. So if there's any other things that we can tell everybody now, I will have them back. But things that are obviously things that we can purchase of yours, but also other things you're doing that we can follow you.
Yes. So I've been getting very quiet about my work. I became a mother in 2023, and I'm kind of coming out of like postpartum haze. It was like a deep winter, which was also a funny thing to write this like really fun book in like the deepest winter since, pandemic times. But so I started, what felt good was I started an IG live series, and every week I interview either an artist, creative, thought leader, people that are doing things that are not AI,
Yes.
that are
That's
actually making community happen, that are bringing a little bit of hope in the time where it feels like, especially if you're new to starting something, which I think all of my work is really centered around like taking risks. regardless of how old you are, regardless of like it is never the wrong time to start over. And I think like people that want to become tarot readers or have some sort of spiritual business or create decks, write books, they look around, especially on social media, and it looks like, your feed is attuned to the stuff you're interested in. So it looks like everybody's doing it, and it looks like AI is impossible to keep up with. So I'm having real conversations that are not fancy and scripted. They're just chatting and they're live. So you can come kind of like people are here tonight and be in the chat. Put your 2 cents in, ask questions. I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys know who Marcella Kroll is, but I'll be interviewing her on September. Oh, just kidding. February 6th. So I'll be on Instagram live, and then it'll also be up on my YouTube channel. And I'm at Moon Void Tarot on all social platforms.
I'm sorry,
That's like the
could you
thing
say
I'm like doing now.
Void Tarot.
Moon Void Tarot, thank you.
Yeah. So, and Kara will be coming and joining me too on that. So
I'm so excited.
I know I need to like
Yes.
send you
Yeah.
an email. My
Yeah.
babysitter canceled on me the last 2 weeks, so I've done nothing and I'm giving
That's
myself
for all the
grace.
community members here, like we will have cool things to share, because like we're doing in-person stuff. This bookstore has been here since
Yes.
1987.
That's amazing.
And
Yes,
and
your community is like
I mean,
so
you
inspiring.
guys have been long time souls. Now we have, since 2020, new people coming in all the time, and it's just the community. I'm not the first person who really lit the torch. We're just continuing on and gathering people
You're
who love
doing
the
great.
things. So I'm excited to just share that there's other people doing stuff that I don't have time to do social media stuff, but we're still doing things.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really like
they must be doing all this
so
stuff. Like, what are they doing without all that other time? They're not doing social media stuff. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of people really want this. They want the things that you're offering and doing, but they don't, one, know that it exists, and two, they're, have that like anxiety about putting themselves out there and making new friends. And so we're just wanted to put these conversations out that like, hey, I have these chats, you have these chats because we're, sliding into each other's DMs and in our emails and being like, hi, I think what you're doing is really cool and I want to hang out.
Well, thank you for like taking 10, 11 extra minutes with us. We really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I will share all of your things. So those of you guys who are here, I'm going to share the recording that'll be up on the YouTube. It'll also be shared on the Mighty Networks, and I will also put all the links to Stephanie's Moon Void Tarot, all her socials, so you can easily click instead of having to search. And yeah, we'll see you. I'll get to see you soon for an IG Live.
Oh, I'm excited. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to come up and do some stuff in person with you.
And where are you at in Florida? Can I ask one more thing? Where are you at?
I'm in Sarasota.
Sarasota. Okay. The Elysian Fields bookstore, is it still open?
It is. I've been shopping. I was shopping there in high school. I still have like stuff like decks and
That's my
I have
favorite store.
still
I love that store.
there.
That's cool. There's a lot of, if you guys ever go to Florida, there's a lot of metaphysical shops in Florida, especially in the Gulf Coast. There's a lot going on down there. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's a red place, but it's also, there's some really fun blue pockets.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you guys at home for being here.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
It was so nice meeting you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for being on the recording, guys. Stop the recording.
For sure.
Yeah.